God. It is the pillar around everything SOAAR Academy represents. It is our foundation, it is our bedrock. Now, the second thing highlighted there is the learner, which is the yellow symbol. It is the brightest color in the world, and that is why it represents the learner. Now, the other item we have, or the other logo we have, the other white, is the parents, because this institution handshakes with the parents also. Parents have to be involved in this process. Then the last one, which is the other white, is our SOAR Academy. Now we have the SOAR programs. We have 3 different programs on our SOAR list, or in our SOAR institution. The first one we have is the online school. Now, this is for learners that are already enrolled in a traditional institution, your normal school. Maybe instead of doing extra lessons in school or teachers at home and all of that, you can opt for this option, whereby after they come back from school, they can apply online and enroll for this. This is easy. It's for learners already enrolled in a traditional institute with school academic support from content-rich basis, so they can get all our content from all our courses online, and so this works basically for those that are already in a traditional institution. Now we have the homeschool. This is parent-led. This is whereby I think a lot of parents that I know right now are opting for homeschool. So if you have the time to be at home with your kids, you can opt for this option or for this program. It said the homeschooling option is parent-led. Hence, learners connect from their home through the learners portal and get support online by request. So this is just as it's explanatory. It's home-based. Parents are involved. Everything is digital. You're just there to help the child, support the child, but they individually, they can even handle it, but you're going to also help them in the process. That's what it means by the homeschool. I like to state that SOAR High Christian Academy is not a traditional school. It's a home school. It's designed to be a homeschool. Okay, now the last program we have there is the SOAR Homeschool Hub. The word hub there is because now we create a state-of-the-art academic environment that is designed to accommodate full-time homeschoolers away from home. So what that basically means is that if you're a busy parent, you have to go to work, you have other things to do, what you can do is bring them over to the hub. The beauty about the hub is that they get to interact with other students during their break time. They have break times. They have supervisors on ground to help them with every challenge they are going through or anything of that such. So I kind of love that one more. Okay, let me give you some of the advantages of the homeschool hub. They have access to basic courses. They have access to each elective courses. They have online tutor support. They have physical supervision. They have international exam and college preparation. They have access to the Learners Hub. Then they have tea break, and they are also being fed. They have hands-on skill training. This is one thing that will not be available for homeschoolers. And they have end of the year term. Okay, now for those that are doing the homeschool, not the hub, you have access to basic courses. You have access to its elective courses. You have online tutor support. Whenever maybe the child face any challenge or any hiccup, they can online right there. They can just click on a tutor who is there to support them and help them out in case there's any hiccup along the way. Next slide, please. Now we have our SOAR team. Our SOAR team is categorized in 4 different categories. The first one we have is the success coach. The success coach monitors learners' progress in enrolled courses, schedules support and advise accordingly what needs to be done by time. I think it's self-explanatory, but just to expatiate more on it. Now, let me use myself as an example. In the school I grew up, I had nothing of such. There was nothing like that in existence. But at SOAR Academy, you have succession to help each child, not as a corporate body, each individual. So that is why it is so beautiful and is so enhanced in its beauty, because now each child has 100% focus. And they work at the pace of each child. So because we've come to understand that not each child learns at the same pace. So this is the beauty of SOAR Academy. Each child has a success coach to ensure that they are successful in their courses, helping them out at every point in time. Then for our online tutors, we have the online homeschoolers. We have online tutors and teachers that help clarify concepts not well understood by the learners. So even while they're online, even those that are doing the homeschool at home, that is parent led, if they have any hiccup, because I want to assume that parents might not know everything, right there you can just request for an online help. A tutor comes up face to face. It can be a visual, it can be online, like a video call, it can be audio, whatever suits or works better for you. Then the other part of our team is the learner supervisor. Every SOAR learner hub has a physical supervisor. Now, this applies for those that come for the homeschool hub that are available on ground. They have a learner supervisor attached to each child. So, what the supervisor does is goes around. Remember that this is a fully digital organization. The child interfaces with their laptop on their own. What the supervisor comes is just come to check on them from time to time, ensuring that they are following up with their courses and they're in line with the time frame attached to each courses. Then lastly, we have the academic guide or the counselor. This is something I saw in movies. I'd never seen it before. I usually see it in movies where you have the counselor. If a child is not meeting up with the academic standard, they take them to the counselor who helps them out. Okay, what do you want to do? How do you want us to help us fine tune it? So it is a beauty to behold that this is available at the SOAR Academy, where the SOAR learner has the academic support in making college choices. So they help them out in whatever college they decide or want to go to. They help them, advise them. They don't push them, they advise them that in a way that is tailor made to the individual. Because at that point, especially for those that the hub homeschool, the teachers or the supervisors have got to understand, and even from their results online, they've gone to understand the make of the child. So I think this is one beautiful aspect of the SOAR Academy. Next slide, please. Why we stand out at the SOAR Academy? So High Christian Academy is a fully digital, that is online school, that is godly homeschooled for learners in elementary, middle, and high school. There is no teacher in front of us saying, you live there. What's that right here? 21st century compliance. Another point we have is that our mission is to raise generation of the best educated minds, having a godly foundation in world influence. I think this is a big and major part of what is missing in our economy. And it's such a beauty that SOAR Academy is going to help us fix that gap. Next slide, please. Our rigorous curriculum provides thorough check and support for every learner, meeting them at their level and building mastery while leveraging on the power of technology. So every child has the support of a tutor or a supervisor, helping them every step of the way throughout their curriculum. Then SOAR learners are trained with the mindset to be leaders. Hence, each learner is equipped beyond academic courses, such as math, language, art, and science. Our extracurricular course exposure gives room for each learner to be exposed on a wider frame in a learning environment. I think that is super, super amazing. So if every child or whatever course, if it's engineering, if it's medicals, whatever course they have chosen to embark on at SOAR Academy, every child is trained with leadership position at mind in line with the course that they have chosen for themselves. Now, at SOAR Academy, learning is redefined. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is David, and today I'll be talking to you all about the mentality of a SOAR learner. Before I start, I would like to tell you who a SOAR learner is. This is a person that's opportuned to learn using the SOAR platform. The next is the definition of mentality. This is the characteristic way of thinking of a person. So now we all know the definition of mentality and we know who a soul learner is. Let's go to the first mentality, spirituality. Spirituality simply is having the consciousness that God is in control of everything and living by that understanding. At SOAR, it's very important to live a spiritual life because we believe God is our sustainer and the only one who keeps us. We live in a world where it's not acceptable to serve God, but as Saul, we're brought up to show the God factor in us, to stand out, and to share our light. The Bible also commands us to live a spiritual life and act on it, especially from our youth. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 confirms that, saying, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart from it." Spirituality is very important at SOAR, and measures are taken to assure that, such as having to come to school with a Bible every day to read during our praise and worship session, and having a dedicated time where all students, instructors come together to worship, praise, and confess God's word. Next is excellence. Excellence is the quality of being extremely good and outstanding at everything we do. Excellence is what makes us as SOAR learners stand out from other students. We stand out in the way we look, the way we undertake our tasks, the way we dress, and we also stand out by having good grades. At SOAR, we are taught to emulate excellent people, such as Solomon during the visit of the Queen of Sheba in 1 Kings chapter 10, and Daniel when he was captured by the Babylonians. We portray excellence in our behaviors wherever we find ourselves, either here at the hub or outside the hub. We are taught that excellence is not a skill, but rather is an attitude. And lastly, leadership. Leadership is the action of leading a group of people to a common goal. Leadership is very crucial as a soul learner. We are brought up with the understanding that there is a leader in everyone, and that leader has to come out. We are trained to be successful leaders and imitate successful leaders, such as the global senior pastor of Koza, the Reverend Biodun Fatoyinbo, Martin Luther Martin Luther King Jr., and Peter, the leader of the disciples. We are taught to take any opportunity we find to lead and to show the great leader in us. Thank you very much.
Good day, parents. I'm George, and today I'll be talking to you about a day in my life as a SOAR learner. As we may all know, SOAR is an online platform where students can learn at their own pace. SOAR has the homeschool online and the hub. I school at the hub. At the SOAR hub, we are to resume by 8 a.m. in the morning, just like every other school. However, when you come in the morning, you see kids running around and getting dirty before the day starts. As for us here in SOAR, we start our day with our morning devotion. The reason why we start our morning devotion was because normally in traditional schools, when you come, you just see kids running around, and when they run around, they get dirty before the day starts. The teacher complains, but us here in SOAR, we don't have any complaint. The first speaker talked about spirituality. So in every SOAR learner, we must grow in our spiritual life. We start with our morning devotion, which lasts for an hour from 8 to 9. We start with our praise and worships, which last for 30 minutes. We sing praise and worships to God like we do here in church. We have our prayer and confessions for 20 minutes. Our soul supervisors actually lead us in these prayers and confessions, but most of the times we are assigned for each and every one to lead these prayers and confessions. Then for the next 10 minutes, we engage in our what we call our soul series, which is led by our soul supervisors. They tell us the scriptural theme for the week. Most of these themes that I consider great are I am the message, Matthew 5, verse 16, which says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." The attitude of gratitude, 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 18, which says, "In everything give thanks, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Not to waste your time, but then we join our hearts, we go to our various classes. Strictly for the SOAR seniors, we engage in our morning mental mass. Before I got to SOAR, mass was a big problem for me. In traditional schools, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't get what they were teaching me. But when I got to SOAR, it became much more easy. I am a 10th grade SOAR learner, and I am privileged to choose from a wide range and variety of courses in SOAR. Most of these courses, I engage in foreign languages. This sets me apart from my peers around the world. Yes, of course, I offer courses like algebra, English, physical fitness, and general science, but most importantly, I'm able to take the New Testament survey. This takes me deeper in my faith and my walk with God. Then by 11, we go for our tea break. This is my favorite time of the day because we have 15 minutes to rest and review what we have done for the meantime. We have 15 minutes to converse with our friends before we get back to work on the platform. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have our public speaking classes. Normally, on my own, when they tell me to present, I can't present like what I'm doing today. Even though they pair me in groups, it's really hard for me to present, but I think I'm doing really good today. By 2 to 2:30, we go for our lunch. Then from 2:30 to 2:50, we review what we have done for the whole day. This is when our SOAR supervisors tell us on how to organize and structure our day better, how to accomplish more tasks assigned to us per day. The SOAR hop ends by 3 doesn't mean that it ended for the day. I said this because, as we all know, we can still access our work on the platform from wherever we are. But why I said this was, to me, SOAR is amazing. But I would like to say one more thing. Education is a passport to the future of tomorrow, but it only belongs to those who prepare for it today. Thank you.
I'll be talking on skills that SOAR learners the four C's. The first is creativity. It's the use of ideas to create something new or produce something. Every child is expected to be creative. As we all know, God was the first creator, so we ourselves should be creative. In Genesis 1 verse 1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Since we have that creativity in us, we should not compromise for anything less. For example, in our traditional schools, our teachers tell us to write essays on ourselves or on our last holiday. But in SOAR, we're given assignments and projects to write on people or research on them, which is much more creative and beneficial. Creativity is a Wild Mind and a Disciplined Eye by Dorothy Parker. In every work we do, we're expected to go the extra mile to improve. Because of that, our capacity to do more increases daily. The next is critical thinking. It's the ability to analyze and evaluate problems in order to form a judgment. Every child should be a problem solver. And that's why at SOAR we're encouraged to think outside the box. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern, what is the will of God for you, what is good, what is acceptable and perfect." If everyone is thinking alike, then no one is thinking, by Benjamin Franklin. We're encouraged to look at problems and be able to solve them so that we can be furnished problem solvers in the real world. The next is communication. It's the exchange of information by speaking or writing. Communication is key at SOAR because we practice communication daily. In Matthew 12, verse 37, it says, "For by your words you be justified, and by your words you be condemned." This scripture simply means what you say can be edifying to others, and what you say can be destructive. And at SOAR, we're taught to bring out the positive side of us when we communicate with people. Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity by Nat Turner. SOAR helps us to learn communication so that when we get to the outside world, we'll be ready for anything that comes our way. Last is collaboration. It's the act of working with someone to achieve a common goal. Every child is expected to work in teams in order to build an enriching school spirit. In Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9, it says, "Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor." Henry Ford said, "Coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." We're doing this because we're building our minds for a collaborative future in which we get to work with organizations. Building collaborative skills also help us to shine as light for Christ everywhere we go. But before I go, I would like to mention one more mindset, which is adaptability. Every soul child is expected to be adaptable in every circumstance and in every environment. Thank you.
Good day, parents and friends. My name is Debra. I'm an online student from Port Harcourt, and today I'm going to be sharing my experience with you. And my experience in physical school, elementary school in particular, was traumatized and disturbing. I was the target of bullying. I had this impression that school was the worst place to be. When I got the news that I was joining, so I was a bit shocked and worried because I thought I was not to my friends or even socialize with people, which I'm very good at. But I was wrong. I think I have so much shame. I thought, what am I questions with? So has given me a new mindset about school. I have the confidence to do what I couldn't do before. The book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 has made a huge impact on my life and it says, for God has not given me the spirit of timidity and fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. I recommend so because a child receives a self-respect and tailored work. Thank you for listening to my story. Bye.
Good day, parents. I'm Toyah, and today I'll be talking about exploring the SOAR platform. As we all know, SOAR is an online platform where students are given the privilege or opportunity to school at their own pace, either at home or at the SOAR center. When you arrive at the SOAR platform, the first page you will see is the login page as displayed on the screen. This is where every learner is assigned to type in his or her password and username. This stage is mandatory. Without your username and password, a learner cannot access anything on the SOAR platform. When you log in, you will see a short video on the What's New help page. This video will be there when the platform makes new changes. This video will let you know right on time. There's also an FAQ page at the left corner with new quick tips on the new layout. The FAQ page will help you on the new layout of the new platform. And to the right is the resources page, where the information about the learning management, systems, accessibilities, features, and policies can be located. At the top of the screen are the buttons to take you to the Learn page, Message page, the Help page, which I'm currently on, and the Sign Up for the Day page. Let's check out the Learn page. When you open up the Learn page, it comes out with two different choices. Here you have your assignment tab and you have your course tab. The assignment tab will show you what assignments that needs to be done. They are in due date order for each course. Basically, when an assignment is overdue, the date will turn orange. We normally call this an overdue or behind. This only occurs when a learner has not completed his or her assignment for the day and lets it fall into the next day. It is called an overdue or behind. Displayed on the screen, it will show bold written, overdue, and to be colored orange. You could also switch to the course tab. The course tab is where you can find more information and review your grades. The course tab is there if a learner wants to look at a single course or review what they have already accomplished, either to study for tests, projects, quizzes, or even exams. Let's jump into a lesson. The lessons are in the center of your screen, and they consist of one or more reading materials, study tools, videos, games, and questions. On the right side, you have your toolbar that will follow you along with the lesson. Each icon in the toolbar is designed for a different tool to assist you in the lesson. We have 4 major toolbars in the toolbar. We have the print, which allows you to print assignments or study while you can work offline. We have the reference, which will pull up any definition and explanation of a word or phrase a learner can't accumulate. We have the translate, which will translate selected text into one of the 50 languages and can be heard in any new language. We also have the text-to-speech, which is my favorite. We'll read back any highlighted material you select in the voice of your choice. Let's move to the message. The message is a way of communicating to the SOAR instructors. The message is a very useful page because it's a way our SOAR instructors can contact a SOAR learner with important information, deadlines, or even notes of encouragement for the day. Let's look at the navigation bar. On the navigation bar, you can see the lesson or assignment you're working on in the middle of your screen. And to the left, you can see your assignments and your courses. And to your right, you can see your sections and questions. This means you can read and see all the materials and all your questions. When a learner gets to the end of a section in a lesson, a learner can go to the question page and answer the question. Not to mention, if a learner needs help with a question, he or she can simply click or ask for help to send a help request to our SOAR supervisors. If you may ask, why are the sections and questions separated? As funny as it sounds, they are separated to make it easier to use them together. Let me explain. Some students like to look at the lessons and read all the materials before going to the questions, while others like to look at the questions before going to the reading material. Whatever method works for a learner, this setup helps make life easier and smooth, pacing every learner so that they don't get stuck and everything is not difficult for them. The coolest aspect about the SOAR platform is everything you need is right at your fingertips, which makes life much easier. Also, another cool aspect is how the platform is well organized. The Bible instructs us in 1 Corinthians 14, verse 40, but all things should be done decently and in order. Well, I think it's time for you to start exploring, but before I go, I would like to say a popular quote. The capacity to learn is a gift from God. The ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. I hope everyone seated here makes the right choice in the mighty name of Jesus.
Hello, my name is Shata Hadasha, and I am an online student in SOAR from Port Harcourt. I generally start my work at 8 a.m. and the courses I do are math, English, Bible study, general science, history, and geography. I personally prefer Bible study because it's easier. The SOAR platform is easier to communicate and understand better because of the simplicity of it. I feel like I gain more on SOAR than I ever have. I finish my work at 4 p.m. and then head home. When I get home, my first priority is a hot shower and then food. Spending quality time with my family is a key feature of my day. I love reading, swimming, cooking. To me, cooking is an art, not just a mere process of making food. In the evening, any unfinished work I have not done, I usually do around this time. I usually go to bed around 9:30 p.m. and get a full 8 hours rest until the next day. I can say that SOAR has taught me responsibility, independence, and a whole lot of other life skills. Hope you enjoyed my daily routine as a SOAR student. Bye!
Good morning, everyone. My name is Samoa, and I'll be talking about the benefits of the SOAR platform. Firstly, personalization. The SOAR Learners platform gives you the full feel of personalization. Every student benefits from learning at their own pace, not disturbed by time, not disturbed by space, and not disturbed by the need to travel. One can learn at any part of the world of your choice. Some of us are quite night loving, implying we may understand concepts better at night. Traditional schools don't give that opportunity. The main problem with most students in traditional school is they don't have a flexible way of learning. You're in a class of 23 students with 45 minutes and one teacher, and his job is to make sure that everyone understands what he's teaching. Fast learners get it easily in less than 10 minutes. Slow learners take more time, and dull learners still don't get it in the entire 45 minutes of the class session. Fast learners get bored, slow learners waste more time, and dull learners don't get it after all. real-time assessments. The SOAR platform gives us the opportunity to get access to real-time. Why wait for 24 hours for your work to be graded? Why can't learning be so transparent and is quickly accessed by our parents to get to see our grades and performances real-time? The SOAR platform gives that opportunity to monitor my progress. Now, my mom can track my work with a click from her mobile device, needless waiting for the end of the year for my exam to be assessed. I can track my progress in real time using the SOAR platform. Sense of responsibility. Imagine not having to bother about scheduling your time. The SOAR Learners platform can be set and adjusted to fit into any schedule. It notifies me when my tasks are overdue. Godly growth. The SOAR Learners platform has all courses deeply based in biblical foundations. Think about learning science God's way or maths in the way of the Bible. With all I've said, you can experience SOAR from your own point of view. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Taheelah, and today I'm going to be speaking about my personal experience as a SOAR learner. In my opinion, SOAR has been amazing knowing that my learning is at my own pace. Unlike traditional schools that make you learn whatever they want you to and whenever they want you to, causing unhealthy competition and making some students feel inferior. But SOAR gives us the privilege to have a learning that takes us step by step, which makes our understanding a lot easier. Before I started SOAR, my view of homeschooling was just a bunch of children, no friends, terrible communication skills, and no social life. But SOAR has built a leadership mindset in me and each and every other student at SOAR, making us understand what we should and shouldn't do when facing the outside world, allowing us to know what leaders should do, telling us how leaders should behave, because as we all know, there is no great leader with terrible communication skills. SOAR has given us the privilege to go on tours to places like botanical gardens and cultural centers, which has made me see the enriching and beneficial sides of excursions and made me understand that as much as excursions should be fun, they should also be informative and beneficial. We should have in mind that yes, I'm going to have fun while I'm going for an excursion, but I should also gain something. I should also have something that I'm going to understand. Since I started SOAR, I have developed this consciousness of excellence. And this doesn't necessarily mean that every STOR student is better than an average traditional school student. It just means we should have a sense of courtesy, a sense of respect, a sense of social conduct. This is proven in Ephesians 4, verse 2, which says, be completely humble, be patient, bearing with one another in love. This doesn't necessarily mean that we should just pretend to be something we're not. It just means we should know that, yes, we're representing SOAR and we have to represent SOAR with grace and with wisdom. To me, SOAR is not just an institution for learning. It is also a training ground where we focus on reforming bad behaviors or any type of behavior into flexible leadership styles. At the beginning of SOAR, I struggled with my time management because I had to prioritize my day in order to get my work done. Because nobody was going to tell me, like in normal traditional schools, when they're like, oh, it's time for math, and they will ring a bell and be like, oh my, it's time for English. I had to discipline myself to achieve these goals. SOAR is not just all about schooling, it has opened my eyes to how I should behave in order to get an excellent future. At SOAR, we don't just school, it's not just a school, we school with delight. And this has made us see the better part of school, not just going to learn, going to understand. We have to go know what we're doing, know what we're here for, and know what our focus is. These and many more are my experience at SOAR. And with all I've said, I hope I have made SOAR your first alternative when changing your child's schooling style. Thank you.
So, Mr. Victor, our first question says, Will tutors only focus on SOAR lessons in supporting the children? Can they also support other online courses outside SOAR?
Okay, so actually supports a wide range of courses. Of all the courses we have about 100 electives. We also have extracurricular courses. This is outside the regular basic courses like math, English, and science. So we have a variety of a whole lot.
Okay, that's good. Next question says, can one combine regular school and SOAR, especially during the holidays?
Okay, firstly, SOAR runs all year round. It's a flexible schooling system, so you can enroll at any time of the year. You can combine SOAR with your traditional school in the sense that we could give you access to our basic courses. Because it's online, you may want your child to engage in further study.
Yes.
So we have the provision for that. So any child that's enrolled in a traditional school but still want to get the benefit of having our Bible-based courses as well as our basic courses, you're welcome.
So there's that effective combination of both.
Yes.
So that's brilliant.
Yes.
Next question says, what is the minimum age bracket for enrollment?
Currently, we take children 2.5 years up until 10 years. I mean, from K to 12, kindergarten level, 2.5 years up until the high school.
Okay. Next says, this person says, I want to know, is there a provision for pickup and drop off? Can kids be, or is there a provision for kids to be picked up and dropped off?
Well, our model currently supports the homeschool style. Now the hub is a home away from home where children can actually engage in learning fully. So currently, there is no provision where we'll have maybe a bus pickup service. However, because we have a belief that parents should also be part of the learning process, parents come to pick their children because they're actually homeschooled,
Yes.
just at the hub.
At the hub.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next says, is there a program planned for summer outside of the regular school session? And what's the subscription like for it?
Currently, we have the LIT. It's still under COSA childcare, and the SOAR is also incorporated into it. So outside your regular SOAR classes, you have the summer program.
Good. Next says, how do you teach or train them to interface with other kids that do not have the SOAR foundation? That's one. Two, says, for a child that has almost done all his life in the Nigerian way and has done very well, do you think SOAR would slow them down and make him less busy?
Well, firstly, SOAR has children of all ages. Now, how we train them to interface with when children come in, when they get enrolled into the hub, they bring in their nature. However, this is what, the speaker on child psychology talked about. We can control the environment. I mean, if a child is fuzzy, he's up and about, he's disturbing. When he gets into the hub, it's a state-of-the-art environment. You see that child calm down. So everyone has their PC in front of them, and their interaction is quite restricted, it's limited. We tell them the do's and don'ts, and every child can be trained. We've had children coming with attitude. I mean, they could be aggressive, and in just 2 weeks, the child is changed. So the change is seen real time.
Yes.
So the environment is that friendly, is that accommodating, and it's learner friendly.
Good. Next says, what is the cost implication? And if more than one child would be registered, are there provisions for discounts?
Okay, so just to handle any question that has to do with this and any related entry. I'll at this point just say the first step to enrolling in SOAR is to visit the website. So you get to the website, soar.net, book a meeting. You don't have to come to the hub. You don't have to come to, you can actually book the meeting virtually. We are a digitized school. Everything about enrollment starts from there because parents have the traditional school mindset when they come. So we have this exclusive session where we have to tell parents what we stand for, and the fee is part of it. So there is no like fixed fee. Okay, this child is this, and it's cost related. So the child, or sorry, the parents gets to know okay what you're paying for. These are the programs.
Yes.
So if I say this is the fee, is it for the online program? Is it for the hub? Is it for the homeschool online? So we tend to answer the question. So just to refresh our minds, hit soar.net, book a meeting, and then we'll have this exclusive 30-minute session with parents. Usually, the parents that come to the hub for that session take more than 30 minutes. So, because they have a whole lot
of
more other
questions,
questions, and we answer all that, and then they make the choices, and then we proceed from there. Documentation follows afterwards.
Okay, good. Next says, what are the requirements like learning materials, uniforms, and other things? Next says, again, are there sporting activities and what are holidays like? Do we have holidays?
Okay. Learning should not have holidays. That's one thing that the approach for SOAR is different. You don't have to take a break from learning. Teachers, I've been a teacher. Teachers face a challenge in September because children go and play. So we don't want a system where they have to just play all through. But the system, because it's personalized, you take your holiday all through the year as a sole learner because you can learn at any time. Now, the approach is your holiday period, your break, everything, you can enjoy it while still doing the
Still
SOAR
learning,
program.
yes.
So you said something, I don't know.
About uniforms and
Okay,
other requirements.
Okay, so the uniform, just because we have the hub here for identification, we have a SOAR t-shirt, just branded. Um, there are no uniforms. Your textbooks, your resource materials are basically digital. So everything is on your device. However, you have supervisors for those that are at the hub to help them. So that's it.
So it's a fully digital platform.
Yes.
But of course with supervisors.
Yes.
And also sporting activities.
Sporting activities. We take them outdoor. Now we've had so far in the last 2 months, we've visited different sites for excursion. We just did one last week where they had to visit the first digital museum here in Abuja. So they have extracurricular activities that has to do with their physical engagement. However, we encourage parents because we run from Mondays to Fridays on in the hub. Parents can take out their children, have that bonding with them because we also believe it's part of our practice that parents should engage them in sporting outside of the one we do in the hub.
Okay, that's good. Now this question says, could you please tell us about 21st century learning?
Okay, that's a broad one, but I'll handle it. Is a buzzword in the academic sphere where you talk about ed tech, you talk about 21st century learning. Let me just break it down in a way that people can understand it. So, back up the Bible days. When I talk to the students, the source students, I tell them we have 3 phases and we are in the 3rd phase, so to say. But there's a 4th phase. I'll talk about that. So the first phase is like we're talking about the Stone Age. I mean, there are no buildings. God created Adam and Eve, the forest. Everything was natural. Stone Age, civilization began in Egypt. I mean, the process was slow all through till the time of Jesus. Innovation was not that
widespread.
Yes, widespread. It was not that fast. I call that the arithmetic phase. So the arithmetic phase is one innovation, one discovery happens this year. After 5 years, you find another discovery. After 1 century, you have another discovery. However, from the 14th century down, to 19th century or the 20th century, I call that the geometric phase. So it's like saying 10 plus 10, that's the arithmetic phase, plus 10, you can add, keep adding. The geometric phase is like 10 times 10.
Times 10.
So, but we've gotten to an exponential phase. So instead of saying 10 times 10, the geometric, we have the 10 to the power of 10.
Wow.
So it's like 10 times 10 times 10. So the innovations keep changing. In my time, I consider myself a transitional, they call it the Generation Z, Generation X, Y. Now, if you even check the time frame for Generation X, Y, and Z, you see that it's shorter when it comes to Z Geners and the Alpha Geners. I mean, there's an Alpha generation. We are talking about the Z Geners. So now things are fastly happening. They're quickly happening. They're spontaneous. Innovations are happening
By
in
the
their
second.
yes. So the 21st century is described by this. So how do you engage a child in this phase? This is what the 21st century is like. So learning in the 21st century should come with considerations of distraction, because there's so much distraction and there's the challenge of choice for the children. So you have to still bring them to concentrate. They still have to be human. Now, it's faster than human. I mean, you're talking about an innovation in 2020. You're doing a research for 2020 and you're submitting a 2015 research. I mean, your supervisor or whosoever is assessing is telling you it's outdated. So it's a welcome to a fast-paced world. So we have to measure up with this. So that's what describes the 21st century. And the learning process also has to maintain the same process. I mean, you can't have a child go to a traditional school and his box, he has to learn this for 45 minutes. I mean, there is a whole lot to be engaged in. So this is what SOAR is here to answer. And of all of this, there is a foundational godly footing. You can't take that out. I mean, that makes us stand out. So the 21st century, backed by godly foundation.
Wow, that's interesting. Let's celebrate. Thank you. Next says, how does SOAR control the content learners consume from their learning devices?
Okay, that's a prime task for us. So some children are actually explorative and they want to get outside of their frame. So it's very simple. We control the device by restricting what they have access to. Yes. So if a child is using, for instance, a Chromebook, if a child is below 13, that's considered the children age, you can restrict the content. I mean, the child can have access to some things. However, children are different, but there is like a universal thing guiding all of them. So some children are outgoing, they are so inquisitive, their tendencies are so fast and far. Such children, while you don't want to restrict them, you give them access to learning new things, you also control that. I mean, there are children that if you tell them do this on your device, if you sleep, wake up, they are doing that. So we control all that they do. We have third-party programs that we install into their device to allow for monitoring. Okay. And the parents can also leverage on that too. So basically we control what they
consume.
Yes.
Good. Next says, okay, and this is going to be the final question. No, not final. It says, how does SOAR control interpersonal interactions between the learners?
Okay, it's similar to the other question. Yes. So it's a controlled environment. I mean, we tell them when you're getting into SOAR, that there's something we call the SOAR honor code. That's part of the documentation. So parents sign, the children sign, no matter how young. Yes. So if the child is 3, we make him sign.
Wow.
This is what you're supposed to do. These are your bounds. Teenagers, children in their early or their late unit ages, that's 9 to 10, or they made to understand. You read it out, they can read for themselves, so they sign this. So with that mindset, when you come in, of course, the children there already have a mindset. If you're a new entrant, you just follow suit.
Just flow.
So the structure is already there to adopt anybody. You can't influence us from outside. We create our system and we influence you. Yes.
Wow. Wow. So it's accountability from the age of 3.
Yes.
They begin to learn that.
Yes.
That's lovely. Now, final question says, what curriculum does SOAR use, and how is it better than the traditional school system?
Okay, at this point, we currently use the American curriculum, and thanks to mommy, she did a very great one to get this down to us. Now, I say it again, it's actually expensive, very, very expensive. And it's not about the numbers. She wasn't particular about the numbers, but I mean, we make provision for 100. You have to pay that much to accommodate 100, even if we didn't start with that number.
Yes.
So we use the American curriculum. We started with the American curriculum last year, and that's because it's flexible and we had the godly principles enshrined in each of the courses. So we started with that. Thanks to the fact she has given us a permission, and we're going to be starting the British curriculum in September.
Wow.
So come September, parents are concerned about curriculum. That's a whole broad topic.
Yes.
But by September, we'll be taking the British curriculum. So it will be enshrined in our courses. Yes.
Okay, so, and how is this better than the traditional school system? I know we've talked about it, but just throw a bit more light again one more time.
Okay, this is what I tell parents. A lot of all the speakers, the students have talked. I tell parents, make a checklist. It's simple. Make a checklist. Is this learning influencing my child's academic excellence? If it's influencing your child's academic excellence, check. Before that, is there a godly inkling? Is there a godly footing? Because that's where every other thing should rest on.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in a meeting of teachers in the city of Abuja. I mean, it was like an exam. Teachers were complaining.
Wow.
This teacher narrated his own experience of how children in his school come with currency, bundle of greens,
Wow.
and burn it to show affluence.
Yes.
Now, if a child, he was saying it out of pain. And then he said, we cannot discipline them. We've been caged. You can't discipline the child. I mean, you can't do anything. But then the school puts a pressure on you to deliver a content that your child or the students must pass. So you have a bunch of kids that have these tendencies, not disciplined. They don't want to focus on what you're doing. What you're saying is nothing to them. So at the end of the day, they want to bribe the teacher. I mean, you have to. And for the ungodly teachers, of course, they'll have to bend to it, succumb to it. It's the money. If the parent has to pay, and the parents are unconcerned, that's the neglect is there. So I just put the child in this school. It's a trending school. It's a trending school. They have the ambience. They have this. So, and if there's no godly inclination to that, that's a flaw from the onset. And that's what we stand for. So academic excellence, godly inclination, check. Now, relevance in today's world. When I say relevance, I mean we watch the videos.
Yes.
classroom desk, teacher,
Yes.
textbook. Why would you restrict a child? I asked this question I've been asking this for a long time. Why would you restrict a child to
To that
content
box.
in a book when he can still have the access? I mean, better content.
Yes.
So, is it 21st century compliant?
Compliant.
Then the last one is knowledge should come with skill set. And that's where we talk about the forces that children are equipped with. Apart from being creative, apart from having communication, you have to learn your math with communication. It should be skill based. And that's why we do the public speaking classes. And we don't also restrict children to the traditional system of there are 11 courses this child should do. If he's not good at this, he just has to do it. I can remember in my school, it's a fantastic school then growing up, but I I was good in the internal exam in a particular subject, but then I got an F. I was the best. I, in fact, received an award for that subject in school. But I had an F when I wrote my certificate exam. Thanks to my mom, she understood. She was like, okay, maybe the person may have just thought someone wrote it for me and all that. So, child learning should be checked. Can you monitor your child's learning? Check. Can a parent a real time say, okay, this is what my child can tell, can understand? You don't just wait for assessment at the end of the year or at the end of the term to get, children will do 2 weeks before exam and they'll pass. That's the game of school. So all these things, you make a list. Whether you're in SOAR, whether you're outside SOAR, check these. In this 21st century, you have to make that checklist and then check it.
So parents can monitor the kids' progress real time.
Real time.
As they go on.
As they progress.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's celebrate again. And now we've come to the end of the Q&A. I believe if you've had any doubts as to whether you should sign up on SOAR, I believe that now you have those doubts all settled and you have all the reasons in the world to enroll your child in SOAR. Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome to SOAR Expo 2022. You're the best of the best. We love and celebrate you. My name is Amina Aldo and I'm going to share my SOAR experience. I've experienced a lot working with the computer, but just to mention few. My experience is to work with the computer while doing my daily learning activities, and that makes me computer literate. So I don't need any computer lessons as it because I am good at computers. My time for learning platform is engaging, exploring, and explanatory. My name is Samir Aldo. I'm here to say my SOAR experience. At SOAR, we go beyond standardized learning. My handwriting has greatly improved. As SOAR leaders does not leave any stone unturned. When it comes to learning, in science, I've learned about matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Matter changes from state to state. SOAR is rooted in godly principle. My name is Anna Makuba Kesi. I'm here to share my SOAR experience. After we believe with learning right, I can use my computer very well now because computer is SOAR learner's first notebook. At SOAR, we go beyond standardized learning. I can do confession, praying in tongues. I am the head and not the tail, forever above and never beneath. God begins to make my gift right like never before. Proverbs 18, for part of the just is like the shining light that shines very bright and unto it perfectly. My name is Emmanuel King Alala. I'm here to share my SOAR experience. As SOAR learning is purpose-driven. I learn to letter words, letter words, shapes, numbers, and I know who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm who God says I am. I'm strong and courageous. I am great. I am unique. Nobody can be me. My name is Sally Oladin Pekun. I'm here to tell you my SOAR experience. At SOAR, learning is personalized. Everyone has a personal computer. I'm so happy about my computer. So educated in God principle. I know who I am. I am a child of God. And who God says I am. I'm strong and courageous. I am good. I am unique. Nobody can be mean. I am thankful. I am uniqueness. My name is Gabe Jaden Samuel. I'm here to share my experience. I saw, believe in learning right. I saw, believe in peers. Everybody raise up their hand and repeat after me. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God. I'm who God says I am. I'm who God says I am. I'm strong and courageous. Strong and courageous. I am great. I am great. I'm unique. I'm unique. Nobody can be me. Nobody can be me. Let's turn that to power.